would sink back in her great armchair, the shades of another falling night would close her sunken eyelids, invading her old, deeply lined face. Then I would quietly go away to spend the rest of my evening in the kitchen. Sometimes my fancy would lead me roaming on little excursions around my windmill. It might be a shooting or a fishing trip to the Camargue, that pampas-like corner of Provence where the oxen and the wild horses are allowed to roam unfettered and free. Another day I would go and join my friends, the Provençal poets, the Faits Libres. We used to go to the Céliscamp, and, lying in the grass between the grey stone tombs, listen to some fine play by Théodore Aubanel, ironically accompanied by the banging hammers of the railway workshops from behind a curtain of lustreless trees. After the reading, we would stroll along the Lys to watch the proud, coquettish girls of Arles pass by under their little white caps, for the love of one of whom poor Jan killed himself. We would have supper at Cornille's Inn, and all the evening we would wander on, singing songs, through the little rambling side streets, past crumbling walls, remains of flights of steps and broken columns. And how good it was, after one of these lyrical escapades, to come back to the windmill and dream of the book I would write one day, a book into which I would put all those songs still singing in my head, all that bright laughter, and all those enchanting legends. It is in my windmill that I am now writing to you, my door wide open, the sun pouring in. In front of me, a wood of beautiful pines descends to the foot of the hill. In the far distance, the lesser Alps raise their delicate crests. There is no sound, only, sometimes near, sometimes far away, the sound of a fife, a curlew in the lavender, mule bells on the road. All the beauty of this Provençal countryside is born of the sun. It lives by light. Why, then, should you wish me to regret Paris, your noisy, dirty Paris? It is so perfect here in my mill. The corner I have been looking for, a small, warm, sweet-scented corner, 1,000 leagues from newspapers, cabs, fogs. The lovely things all around me here. It is hardly a week since I settled in here, yet already I am brimful with impressions and memories. Just listen to this. It was the day I came here. I had caught the Beaucaire stagecoach, an old ramshackle conveyance which hasn't a long way to go before it finds its final home, but which dawdles along the roads in order to look as if it had come a long distance when it arrives in the evening. There were 5 of us on the outside, not counting the driver. First, a man from the Camargue, squat, hairy, smelling of the world, with large bloodshot eyes and silver rings in his ears. Then 2 men from Beaucaire, a baker and his journeyman, both very red-faced, very wheezy, but with superb profiles, 2 Roman medallions with the head of Vitellius. Lastly, in front, near the driver, a man. No, a cap, an enormous rabbit-skin cap, which said little and looked sadly at the road. All those people knew each other and kept talking about their affairs very loudly and very freely. The man from the Camargue related how he was coming from Nîmes on a summons from the examining magistrate for having stabbed a shepherd with a pitchfork. They are hot-blooded in the Camargue, and at Beaucaire, it seemed. Weren't our 2 citizens of Beaucaire wanting to cut each other's throat on account of the Virgin Mary? It seemed that the baker was from a parish long devoted to the Madonna, whom the people of Provence call La Bonne Mère, and who carries the little Jesus in her arms. The journeyman, on the other hand, sang bass in the choir of a quite new church consecrated to the Immaculate Conception, that beautiful, smiling image which is represented with outstretched arms and hands emitting rays of light. The quarrel arose over that. You would have had to see it to believe the way these 2 good Catholics behaved to each other and to their Madonnas. Immaculate! She's a fine one for you to call immaculate. What about you and your good mother? Yours got more than she bargained for in Palestine, all right. And yours, the naughty girl. Who knows what she didn't get up to? You'd better ask Joseph. One needed but to see the flash of knives to believe oneself on the harbour at Naples, and by heavens, I do believe that's how this fine theological foray would have ended if the driver had not intervened. "That's enough of your Madonnas," he said, laughing to the men from Beaucaire.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.